come here often. I don't know what you did, but you just released a source flood. I thought I'd come and see what all the fuss was about. Should have known you were getting yourself into trouble. Looks like the big moment has finally arrived. I will do everything I can to support you, Godwoken. I will pray for you. I think you'll need it. Don't underestimate the power of true prayer. This is a place of incredible power where a single prayer holds the weight of thousands. Your heart and soul will fill as quickly as they're drained. Consider it a taste of your divine future. Prayer will enrich you, and your disciples will empower you, strengthen you, and trust you in all ways to do only what is right. Of course, it's up to you whether or not to listen. I know how I'd respond, but you do you.
Malady wearily chuckles to herself, then bows her head in a show of unexpected but sincere reverence.
Looks like my investment's paid off after all.
You've shown me kindness in the face of my sins. My worship is the least I can offer.
I've always preferred to be the one reaping the attention, but you've turned the tables. I suppose it's only right, seeing as how a new divinity may stand before me.
Now go. Rivellon needs a new divine.
Seems the amulet can't hold any more.
Godwoken. Dallas told me about you. You must be as hard as diamonds and twice as bright to have come so far. Your divine welcomes you.
Surprise!
Lucian frowns at the figure, then bestows a benevolent smile upon you. All that you know of him flashes across the panorama of your mind. You open your mouth to speak.
I underestimated you, Godwoken. You have proven to be a formidable foe. You have my respect.
Respect, indeed.
Lucian's gaze rests upon you and goes through you. He takes your measure entirely.
Lucian, we should tell the Godwoken the truth.
Yes, I agree. It is time we dropped our masks.
Dallas nods, then reaches for the sides of her head. Where there was one face, suddenly there are four. She takes off the mask of the shapeshifter. A skull is revealed, bejeweled and ancient as the void.
I am eternal.
Surprise, surprise.
Fear not, Godwoken. Dallas is on the side of all that is good. She is helping me rid Rivellon of the influence of the Source. Listen to her.
I shall tell you the tale as I told it to Lucian. Long ago, the Scholar Fane discovered that the veil between the world and the void was made of Source. Our 7 lords desired this power.
Of course.
Silence, slave. Our king forbade the 7 to reach for this power, but they didn't listen. Instead, they rebelled and sent the king and his people into the void.
With the Source they stole from the Veil. The 7 created the races so they would have worshippers.
During their lives, worshippers collect Source. When they die, the gods feed from them. It's an ingenious system.
Our souls are nothing but vats for the Source-hungry gods.
The 7 made a mistake. By taking its source, they tore a hole in the veil, and it is through this hole that the void finds its way into our world.
The 7's lust for power let in the void. Our goal is to close the hole they created, to restore the source to the veil. When we are done, there shall be no more source in the world. No more gods, no more worship, no more war, no more chaos, no more demons, no more Voidwoken. Rivellon will have peace at last.
My people cannot be allowed to return from the Void. They are tarnished. They are Voidwoken. They can only bring chaos and death and...
There is more, but she hesitates to share it. Then she decides that she must.
I was but a child when the war started. The king, in his fury, separated my family and scattered us across the world to be... entombed. He did this because it was my father who gave the Seven the secret of the Veil, against the king's explicit instructions. Ironically, the king's punishment is what saved me from the Void. Only a very few Eternals escaped banishment. Myself, my mother, and... Thane. Yes, Thane is my father.
What? No. It can't be. Everything Dallas did. It was all you. Child.
Everything I did to fix your mistake. Our people, every purged sorcerer, every dead magister, all those weeping families. They're on your head, father. And now, in my mother's name and my own, I take my revenge on the king and the Seven. And to you, father, I offer the opportunity to atone for your sins. Did you even look for me, father?
Dallas, control your emotions. Our purpose transcends your personal wounds.
You are right.
Dallas has her reasons, as you can see. I seek peace for Rivellon, and for myself. Her ambitions align with my own, and I always believed the goal justifies the means.
During the war, the real Dallas found my tomb. I took her place and quickly realized that Lucian was the key to my vengeance. And I was the key to the salvation of Rivellon.
While Dallas sought the Eterran, I started draining the gods of their source.
Slurp, slurp, slurp.
One more word from you and I shall use the leash.
I had to hide from the gods. So I had the walls of this crypt equipped with tenebrium, and protections put in place. It worked. Everyone, even the gods, thought me dead. As divine, I was created, empowered to stop the Void. I was the avatar of the Seven, their strength and their weakness. My bond to them allowed me to drain them of their source.
Indirectly. And when the Death Fog was unleashed, many elves died. With fewer elves to worship him, Tyr Sandilius weakened. This gave the God King his first real foothold back in the world. To strengthen himself, he sent his Voidwoken, the remnants of my people, to hunt down the sorcerers seeking to reclaim their source.
We turned the appearance of Voidwoken to our advantage. To fix the Veil, all source needs to be removed from the world. Blaming the sorcerers for Voidwoken made them easier to capture.
The Eterran now contains almost all of the source the Seven stole. Soon, we will be able to heal the Veil.
The Void shall be banished, and I, Lucian the Divine, shall return from the dead. A false divine, of course. I shall have no power. But the world will not know this. I shall demand peace, and we shall have it.
The plan is almost complete.
We have made so many sacrifices, Godwoken. All of us. Of ourselves and those we love. One last sacrifice is required. For the future of Rivellon. You must surrender your source.
Decide. Be the true hero and give up your source, or be forced to submit. Like a coward. Like...
There is no other way. The source of the world is required to close the veil. All of the source. We only lack yours.
As I say, one last sacrifice is required. Yours. We already had more than enough Godwoken.
Another sacrifice I was forced to make. Those beautiful people. I was...
Good. You understand.
The world shall not know this. I shall return from the grave, a divine without power, yet all who desire power shall fear me. I shall carry the secret of my lack of divinity. Peace shall reign.
Then let us proceed. Show some responsibility, Father! Surrender your source!
Sealing the veil will lock our people away forever. They will never be free of the void. Though if they return, what becomes of this world?
Fane turns to you. In all the time that you've traveled together, you've never seen him like this. He's trembling with emotion.
And you, my fellow adventurers. Together we have seen more than generations of mortals could ever see. You have seen the horrors of the void, and I have seen this world through your eyes.
You'll be a hero. Everyone will know of the sacrifice you'll make. Your name will be synonymous with the survival of Rivellon.
Don't let them do this to us.
But our souls? There has to be another way.
No, never.
Good.
Yes, very good.
She raises what looks like a leash. A chuckle emerges from beneath the cloaked figure's hood. The chuckle becomes a guffaw, booming and hateful. Dallis flicks her wrist, and nothing happens.
Surprise! Surprise! Surprise.
How? What? The leash is cut!
A bright observation from a bilious imbecile. You know people often become sloppy when they're close to achieving their dream. You left the leashing wand next to me, you stupid maggot. So accustomed had you become to me, pretending to be your slave.
Kill him.
Do shut up, you tedious buffoon, and don't look so surprised, as if I would allow a bone bag to enslave me. Me! Brachus Rex, you ignorant dog. Brachus! I am the one true king of the Source. He who shall be god of the Source. It is time for my divinity. Or did you really think I'd play slavishly along with your ridiculous scheme, Dallas? Yes, I played my part of the servile stooge. But know this. It was only about the power of divinity.
Kill him. Now.
Too late, you moldering, blight-stained pigs. Grant me power, my ally. God King, I call on you! You dare interrupt Brachus Rex? How novel. Who are you to challenge the Source King? Ha! You were the fetid dirt on my boot. You are nothing at all. I am the Source King. I shall rule. My ally sends me a pet. What a fitting gift. Ruling the world with a bloody fist can be lonely. I needed a companion. Come to your father. Come to the Source King.
Arcus Rex, the Source King of Legend, lies dead once more, perhaps even for good. Dallis groans and looks to you with weakened eyes.
I have failed. The future of all that is rests on your shoulders.
Listen, this is it. Again. And I want you to know I'm not putting up a fight, not against you. My revels are now ended. Yours are about to begin. I've had my vengeance, my life and my liberty. You helped me win them back. And then, when you told me you loved me, all of me awoke. All I want now is for this to end. To be by your side when we wage the final battle. And long, long after. I know you do. And I love you too. Now kiss me.
You kiss each other passionately, ready to face the darkest dark.
Well then, this is, as they say, it. I never dreamed that after all this, I would be standing here with one of your kind. Let alone that I would be proud to do so. I cannot imagine someone I would trust more with divinity, including myself.
Fane lays a bony hand on your shoulder, squeezing gently.
Do you know, I believe you will.
You think back on your journey here, on all you have seen, on how the Magisters hunted sorcerers who committed horrible crimes, and purged sorcerers who only tried to heal the sick. You think of how the Eternals unleashed void-woken horror on the world in an effort to reclaim it. You look at the source around you. You know that within your reach is divinity. You think of what you could do with such power. Seeing the vast quantity of source in front of you, you think you should be able to handle a couple of void-woken. You think of your personal problems. It's time to make a choice that decides the fate of Rivellon, and of you. Where do you stand? After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, all that you have become, the Aetheran lies in front of you. Divinity is yours to take, or to sacrifice. What you do next decides your own fate and the future of the world. What shall you do with divinity?
So it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. Dallis the Hammer, the secret Eternal, purged the Godwoken and used the Source to close the veil to the void. The world was saved. Statues in memory of the Godwoken who sacrificed their Source were erected all across Rivellon. They would never be forgotten. The half-demon Malady took pity on the soulless, God-woken silent monks and brought them to the Hall of Echoes. There, from the scraps of their souls that remained, she restored them to life. Sorcerers no more, they lived out the rest of their lives, freed of the burden of being the God-woken, freed from the weight of the world. As for me, the God-woken sacrifice severed the link that bound the Sworn to the God King, and I was finally free. To atone for my sins, I spent the rest of my days taking care of the sick and elderly, telling the story of the Godwoken, that the world may never forget the greatest heroes Rivellon had ever seen.
Malady stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here, she looks almost angelic.
Well, here we are again. You, me, and the ship I've saved from ruin for your personal benefit. I'd say you owe me, but why state the obvious? Ah, there you are. More than a silent monstrosity, less than a god. In the end, I'm not totally convinced it was worth my while to restore your consciousness, seeing what you've done with it so far. Where did I go wrong? Ugh. I'd been counting on sacrificing my health and happiness for a future god, you know, not a silent monk in waiting. Never mind. I'll find another way. I always do.
She fingers the mask covering her face. For a moment, it seems as though she's about to remove it, but instead, she places a hand on your shoulder.
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. Sacrificed much. And I'd have given even more to see you fulfill your destiny.
She looks you up and down.
I guess this will have to do. Take a moment, why don't you? Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. The same way I do everything, of course. Demonic guile. Oh, I don't know. Around and about. Treat myself to some mead, a Loverall 300. I'd say we've earned it. Perhaps our paths will cross again. Perhaps not. Until we find out.
Beast's spirit barely responds to you. He only sings while brushing his ghostly beard.
He says he likes it thick and long and combs it out all dilly-eye-day. He says he likes it big and strong and combs it out all dilly-eye-day. He twists and rubs and tweaks the nubs, he strokes and pokes like all the blokes. He say he'll touch it all day long and combs it out all dilly-eye-day.
I always thought that those who resorted to self-sacrifice were lacking in imagination. And I must admit, that was rather noble of you. A world without source is one that will need individuals of wit and intellect. A sharp mind is the only magic now. I believe I shall enjoy this new world. Very. That is the question, isn't it? How does one top the greatest feat of necromancy ever conceived? I might have the answer to that. Tell me, have you ever heard of Gustafjan? No, of course you wouldn't. It's a written language, unreadable to most, but myself naturally. It comes from a mysterious race from another world, beings that feed on minds. I intend to seek them out. This Gustafjan seems to guard portals to their realm. And once I've uncovered one, well, why settle for being the greatest mind in just one world, when there's another for the taking?
Are you okay? You don't look okay.
No more source, no more powers. Don't worry, darling. I know you have plenty of other qualities. Who knows? A nice cottage someplace quiet for Mahalia and I. A roaring fire and a feather bed. Maybe. Maybe. But a girl needs some fun, doesn't she? Reform my ways. How adorable. No, I'm afraid I cannot escape who I am and what I've done.
Her eyes flick down to your mouth. She smiles coyly, then slinks forward to kiss you. Her mouth meets yours and devours you with predatory abandon. Somewhere in the recesses of your mind, you think you hear her voice sigh, "mine." But then...
Something to remember me by, darling.
Fane is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He leafs through it slowly, muttering to himself.
I see. Intriguing.
He glances up at you, big, empty eye sockets taking in every detail.
Well, well, there you are. Another fine specimen of your kind. A little leaner than when we first met, and a little less divine than you'd hoped, I imagine. As do I, it seems, whatever that life might be.
Fane looks back down to the book, a bony finger running across the embossed leather cover.
It could have been different, you know? I could have saved them. I could have found a way. No. I imagine you can't. I imagine no one can. But the cards were dealt, and my people got snake eyes. Or something. I never took the time to learn how the average Rivellonian entertained themselves. Then again, you are no average Rivellonian. Not after this. So, what do you think you'll do, now that we live in a source-free world? Of that, there can be no doubt. I'm sure the bards will sing of your heroics for generations.
The skeleton hefts Hubert's dog-eared encyclopedia, its weight heavy in his hands.
I've been rereading this book, looking over your history once again, poring over every detail with a new perspective, and do you know what? It's shit.
Fane tosses the book over his shoulder. It flutters in the air as it sails over the ship's railing and disappears with a faint splash.
If you have spent your life staring at a thing, you can write about it with knowledge. You can write about it with love. But it is almost impossible to write about it with wonder. You creatures have spent your lives trudging about this world, and you've grown blind to its miracles. Truly, good heavens, you hide it well. I'm not sure your people really look at things like animals anymore. Take otters, for example. Energetic, waterproof cats, utterly beautiful creatures. Or octopuses. Did you know they're secretly Octopuses? Octopi? Octopods? I shall have to look that up. Regardless, the world is filled with absolutely incredible sights. And who better to catalogue them with the awe they deserve than someone seeing them for the first time? Ah, finally. You're right about something.
Fane nods curtly and turns away, notebook in hand. Fane stares out.
You are a very, very, very lucky person. If Malady hadn't restored us, I'd be a drooling monstrosity, but a vengeful one. The realm is a lot more robust than some people give it credit for. It's probably survived much more than we'll ever even know. Get loot, play loot, get glad. So, Chief, I guess this is it, right? You say that now, but who knows what adventures and redheads life will throw at you. Whatever it is, you'll ace it.
As she turns from you, the whites of her eyes darken, the veins in her face go grey, and a wicked smile curls her mouth. Suddenly it's gone again. She winks, and you're left wondering whether you saw anything at all.
See you around.
Darling, you're here. And I'm here. If just barely. Thank the gods, or whomever, for Malady. I'm curious to see how long he'll last. He's a good man, which makes him a dubious god. I suppose in the end, I want more from life than to belong to a stale pantheon. That quite depends on you, I suppose.
She laughs, and it's music to your soul.
We want each other, after all. We love each other, after all. Let others play the game of gods. Love conquers even divinity.
There's nothing interesting down there. The future lies above, not below.
If you'll excuse me, darling.
It gives me almost as much pleasure to speak to you as it does to be whole again. I will always be an ally to those that carry source, to those whose blood is of the heroes of old, and so, as always, I am at the ready. Consider me to be a gift from Malady. My wood was splintered, but my spirit intact. It was a great feat, but given her skill, not a surprising one.
You look out to the endless beyond. The sun's light plays upon the waves, just as it always did. The sails flutter in the wind, just as they always will. And with a start, you realize where you must go next. You speak the command to the Lady Vengeance, and another chapter begins. At last, the world was at peace. As the races united behind Lucian, Arx remained the center of power. The ancient Lizard Empire opened its gates. The houses disbanded, and the Empire adopted a pluralist quasi-democracy. Anyone could vote for whoever they pleased, as long as the House of Shadows approved. With their queen dead and the Voidwoken gone, the dwarves held the greatest party in the history of dwarfdom. A new king took the throne, the local brewer. 6 days later, he was stabbed to death with a mutton fork. Lucian made amends to the elves. He gave them lands and vast riches from the coffers of the old divine order. But the elves never forgave him. They would not trust humans again. And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort Joy, the old redoubt of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world. The Black Pit took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood became a centre of industry, trade, and transport. Lohar the dwarf became mayor. His time in office was cut short by an unfortunate wound that spontaneously appeared on his neck. Lagan left his over-demanding wife and began a relationship with a local bard. In the spirit of loving generosity, he returned the ring to his now ex-wife. In a fit of rage, she threw it into the sea. You would never forget Dorothea's kiss. Dorothea herself left Driftwood for the ancient empire, ever in search of the perfect kiss. She never found it, although once or twice she came close. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Arx became a great metropolis, famed for its prosperity, its culture, its diversity, and the willingness of its denizens to stab each other in the back for the slightest advantage. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. Almira and Mihaili settled down on the farm. The locals liked and respected Almira. She never wanted for help, and deals always fell to her favor. She presumed she had them in thrall. The truth was, they just liked her. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. Riker languished in his graveyard mansion. As the world prospered, the number of spirits available to serve him would dwindle. Riker faded first into obscurity, then non-existence. With Lucian in power, Sahala took the elves away from the world. They grew strong once more amidst the trees of the regrown home forest. Some say her plans for revenge will bring about the end of days. Some say only Tova, her mother, holds her back. Lucian returned as divine, united the races, and became Lord Emperor of all Rivellon. Only Dallis knew that he was entirely powerless. Dallis and you. The Eternal, now known as Dallis, was a secret advisor to Lucian and to his successors. For eons she would walk in the world, and would outlive the peoples and all, and wander alone amongst the dying stars. His run-in with his daughter set Fane on a new path. He travelled Rivellon, recording the wonders he discovered, but always kept a socket peeled for signs of the Eternals. He hoped to find the wife he'd lost, but he never did. Then again, he's still looking. Sabine wandered the world. She became a household name, famed the realm over as a travelling hero, celebrated wherever she went. Enjoying life to the fullest, she was truly and finally free. Lohse returned to her music and enjoyed a storied career as Rivellon's premier musician. Dark moods would at times overtake her, and she would spend long hours walking in the wilds. She always returned with a new song. And then there was you. You returned to the world as one more kin among many. Your future was yours to decide. Did you accept your new status with humility, or did you rebel? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.
Come to me, the night is dark. Come to me, the night is long. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Come to me, the night is dark. Come to me, the night is long. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Sway with me, we'll make them scream. Dance with me, we'll make them bleed. Sing for me, I'll sing along. Sing for me, oh sing for me. Listen, do you hear it? Listen, do you feel it? Listen, I'm calling you. Listen, you do know me. Listen, swing and roll me. Listen, I'm calling you. You are me now.